girls, Miss Petra
Ms. G.
and Ms. G here, and we're at Ugly Daisy Studio, and today we're going to continue talking about the comic book and how we did it. When we last left you, I had made some scribble drawings, and now I'm going to show you maybe how I went in and started to develop them visually. And using some of those ideas we talked about, shape and everything else.
Yeah, and I just started with a storyline because I didn't know visually what I wanted, so I just drew a stick guy, and I was going to try to develop a story. But let's see what we did here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So let's take a look.
All right.
And I'll explain it as we
Petra
go.
Again,
okay.
And here we are with my comic book. And when we left off last, I had done some scribbling here, and then I turned them into heads. And now I decided to go back into that, and I'm going to develop this even more. And what I've done is I've kind of played around with some thicker and thinner lines to maybe accentuate certain things. And for instance, I'll look at this and I'll say, what does it really need? And right now I can see that this yellow right here and this yellow is pretty much similar, and it's kind of a strange space right here. So what I'll do is put pattern in, and that's a key visual word, pattern. And that'll change it. I'll be able to keep this yellow really nice the way I have it, but yet I'll have a pattern over it that will kind of separate it from the background.
Oh, you're using lines too.
Right, I'm using lines. And so these lines can go in here, and that'll be the pattern.
Okay.
And that echoes actually, our eye connects to this pattern down here. So actually it's all going together really well.
So I see you're using colors too.
I started putting colors in, like all of a sudden what I'll do is I'll say, oh, I can put a little color here. I have this whole box of colors that is really beautiful. And the reason I wanted to go with color is because I love to wear colors.
Okay.
And I just thought, I'm a very colorful woman. I need to have my paintings be colorful also.
This is a comic, you know. So.
Oh, I know, but we'll talk about how I developed my story. Along the way, I'm just doing things visually here to make it a little more interesting,
that's
you see.
That's very lovely.
All right, well, let's look at yours.
All right,
I want to see what you did.
All right, you can kind of see that in my comic book story, I started out with the stick man because I had no idea what kind of character or how I was going to fill out anything. I just knew that I thought I'm just going to do a stick man, and I just said, well, you know, hey, where's my dog? And then I all of a sudden thought of the story because I really am into the story stuff. And so I really I started to develop the whole thing about my stick man. I kept the colors. I didn't use colors like you did, Petra. I used just black and white because stick people always look better in black and white. That's what I like, that look in comics. But then I
see how you arranged them on the page.
Yeah, and I used the whole page as like a picture plane because sometimes when you're even in comic books, if you look at the whole page instead of just one panel, you really get a sense of how it's balanced.
Yeah, it makes you want to go on and read that page.
Yeah.
So interesting.
Yeah, I put the little look at this is they got complex shapes, and I've got composite shapes here and composite shapes here, some simple shapes and simple shapes. You know, it's kind of like it's a composition, but each one is its own individual panel. But again, I have this story developing. And that's the other thing that's really cool about comics. You can go back in time, and I'll talk about that because you're a time traveler. Because even though this is from the perspective of the story is about this guy, Mr. Sticks, it's his story, we're going to go through the dog's perspective and go through the story through different perspectives of how and what happened.
Great.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Wow, you going to put Stick Woman in there?
Well, I maybe. We'll see how it goes.
Right.
That was kind of a fun explanation that we kind of went through our own comic books. So
I know, and I think that we just started from some very basic ideas, and now we're actually starting to develop those ideas. And I think that's the key: is always go back and review and start to develop your initial idea. And I think what that leads to is more a development in the story, because now I am actually getting an idea for a story and what might be happening in mine. And I'm just not a person that comes up with stories very easily.
Hey, you know.
And I think Miss G here.
Well, I just had this story. Once I drew the stick guy.
And then we're going to look at her
Yeah.
next thing and how she just expanded and went wild.
Okay, well, we'll see you the next time. We'll talk a little
She
bit more.
outdid me.
No.
The
Nobody.
stick people
The
rule.
biggest thing is have fun what you're doing. This
And
is
I want to
comic
be a
book.
stick woman.